I looked at the list of my video schedules that is totally real and not made up, and boy oh boy would you like to know what time it is. It's that time of the month again where we do some tier list that doesn't make any amount of sense. And this time, in case you haven't read the title of this video somehow, we're doing the tier list based on how well each enemy can solve a Rubik's Cube. We've probably done another tier list like this in the past where it needs us to factor in the intelligence of the enemy and basically nothing else. Maybe like the one time where we ranked enemies based on how well they can make Lego sets or whatever. But I want to say that this is going to be different because building Legos and solving Rubik's Cubes are totally different things, alright? They all have different scenarios and they need different skills or different levels of intelligence. And I'm definitely not trying to make any excuses to make this be justified. But before we get into this video, guys, join my Discord server. Okay, that's it. Enjoy the video. But enough yapping and let's get to the real yapping. We're back at this tier list again, made by VM Squared. As always, I will never use any other tier lists. I would rank V1, but V1 is not an enemy, so let's go straight for the filth. If you are a regular watcher of this channel, you will already know that this guy has a big streak of always landing on the F tier on anything. I got good news and bad news. The good news is it gets to keep the streak of it landing on the F tier. And the bad news is it gets to keep a streak of landing on the F tier. I am respectively not sorry and sorry about that. I do believe Stray is decent enough at solving a Rubik's Cube. I mean, this guy is pretty dumb, but maybe given enough time, it's gonna eventually solve it. So put it on the C tier or maybe even B tier because functionality wise, it can definitely interact with it fully because of, you know, humanoid body. Actually, we're on C tier because I still hate this guy. This guy has two left hands, so this is gonna have a little bit of a difficulty trying to rotate the cube, and also it looks and behaves like it's not that smart, so it goes in the same tier as the Stray. And Maurice is just a stone head, and I don't believe the spider legs that it has have any collision on them, so it goes in the F tier. No matter how hard it tries, it just can't solve it. For something wicked, I can imagine a scenario. You wanna give this guy a Rubik's Cube, despite how hard you've tried to overcome your fear of this thing, right? But this guy suddenly spooks you, and you decide to solve the Rubik's Cube for this guy. So it's gonna spook its way into having the Rubik's Cube solved regardless of the means. So this goes in the S tier. This guy doesn't even have to lift one finger on the cube because the giver is gonna solve it. That's a lot of horseradish now that I've spoken it out loud, but I'm not gonna go back on it. That's what we're gonna have. A sword machine, we know it's smart. It's got two fully functional arms, so I don't see why it can't, you know, solve it. It's just gonna be very good. It's not gonna be incredible, I don't imagine, so it's gonna go in the A tier. I'm thinking if I should take its size into account in solving a Rubik's Cube. Well, if I don't, then it's gonna be pretty alright too. Same as a sword machine in solving a Rubik's Cube, so it's gonna go in the A tier. A drone, same scenario as the Maurice. Poor guy. A street cleaner, I still don't know if this guy can stop just holding W and M1 for 1 second and it can actually do anything else. Then I am convinced then and there that it can in fact solve a Rubik's Cube, and it's gonna be pretty alright at it. I don't see how it could be amazingly good at it so that it goes in the S tier, but it's not gonna go in the S tier because I'm saying so. And you can't get mad at anything that I'm saying right now because this is all pretty stupid. If you do get mad, first of all, I'm not gonna be reading all that if you're gonna be typing an essay down there. And second, you're unemployed. That's funny enough for me to invalidate your opinion. Actually, sorry, that was quite mean. Cancerous rodent is just a rat, and if we give a Rubik's Cube to a rat, what is it gonna do? It's just gonna look at it. I mean, me personally, I've yet to see a rat or any sort of rodent be able to solve a Rubik's Cube, so I'm putting this in the F tier. Very cancerous rodent is the same scenario but very. If the cancerous rodent can't solve a Rubik's Cube, then a very cancerous rodent can't very solve a Rubik's Cube. So I'm putting this in the F tier as well. A hideous mass. A hideous mass doesn't even have very good arms. The arms that it has are just mouths. So if this guy even tries to hold anything at all, it's just gonna end up accidentally eating it by using one of its arms. So also goes in the F tier. Skipping over to V2 V2 the first, you know, I do think that V2 gets to be on the S tier because it is one of the better robots. It's a supreme machine, so it's definitely very smart and has definitely seen a Rubik's Cube in its lifetime, so I'm gonna put it in the S tier. And the same thing can be said about V2 the second. Nothing of its intelligence is gonna be reduced because of its change in arm, so why any other tier? I would say that the soldier is better than a stray, but this time we gotta consider that one of its arms is now a gun, so it's actually gonna have a difficult time rotating the cube, so it's gonna be having a reduction in efficiency, so it goes in the D tier. A mind flayer, alright, hear me out, not in that way, because the mind flayer has those wires coming out from its back, right? It's gonna have extra like mobility on the cube, so it's gonna be able to do some wacky maneuverability on the cube itself, so it's gonna go in the S tier. Corpse of King Minos is probably stupid, gonna go in the F tier. It's filled with parasites, it is too big for any Rubik's Cube, and it's pretty dumb. Now Minos Prime. I'm trying to think of any signs that Minos Prime would be good at geometry, or his wisdom in like, you know, puzzles and stuff, so that I can kind of relate it to solving Rubik's Cubes. So I can't say that this guy belongs in the S tier. I'm gonna have to put it in the A tier. Flesh Prison is just out of the question. Nothing even needs to be explained about it, not even for the spawns of it. Gabriel the First. I think Gabriel the First would be the same reason as anybody else on the A tier, so he also goes in the A tier. Now Gabriel the Second, you know, he's angrier, he's got a more burning passion or whatever the hell else that was said in when he got mad. Either he is gonna just crush the Rubik's Cube in anger or be more committed to solving the Rubik's Cube. If the latter is gonna happen, then good for him, he goes in the S tier. Now a Virtue, it's got no hands, so I'm putting it in the F tier. A Stalker is very questionable because their bodies are formed to only be able to hold heavy objects, so they are really like having a messed up posture. I don't even know if the arms of Stalkers can go to their front so that their eyes have any vision on them. Let me just go to ULTRAKILL real quick. Also, in the meantime of all this, Dave says hi, so a Stalker. Like, what I'm trying to say here, can he even hold his arms in front of his own face? That's what I'm really wondering. Oh wait, so can they? A split frame of the explosion animation, it did look like that it is actually holding it kinda above its head, so I'm wondering if it can go all the way. Well, let's say its posture somehow allows this guy to fully interact with the Rubik's Cube like a functional human being. I believe it's only gonna be a little better than these two that are on the C tier, so I'm gonna put it in B tier. That was a difficult one, and I doubt that is in the right tier, but whatever. Sisyphean Insurrectionist, it's just gonna be so inefficient. In the F tier are all the enemies that can in no way solve a Rubik's Cube, and I don't imagine Sisyphean Insurrectionist can't solve a Rubik's Cube. It has one arm still, so I'm gonna put it in D tier, not F tier. Mysterious Druid, Knight and Owl. I think through the magic of the Druids and the combined brain power of the Owl and the Knight, they can totally solve it. In fact, because there are two people solving one Rubik's Cube, it's gonna be a tea party for them. It's gonna be a walk in the park, so I'm gonna put it in the S tier. You know, I'm thinking that solving a Rubik's Cube fast is weirdly in character of Sisyphus Prime. I just have a feel for it, so I'm gonna put it in the S tier. No logical explanation on this illogical subject. Flesh Panopticon doesn't go in anywhere else other than the F tier, same as its spawn. Now a sentry, okay, now you might argue that a sentry has feet, and if it doesn't have any arms, it's okay, but let me tell you something. You look at the sentry's feet, what are you gonna see? These are just immovable pieces of scrap that the sentry uses to only dig in the ground and nothing else. They cannot be given any movement to them. So either it's gonna be very, very difficult to be interacting with a Rubik's Cube using only his feet, or not even possible. So for that reason, I'm put it in the F tier. Well, since it's gonna be super close to the D tier, but not quite, I'm gonna put it all the way at the top. Idol Justice statue goes in the F tier. A Ferryman. Ferryman seems to be cracked at everything. It can definitely be very good at solving a Rubik's Cube, so I'm gonna put it in the S tier. A Leviathan, due to its ginormous, orange, ginormous size is not gonna be able to interact with any Rubik's Cube, and it also has a chance to be straight up eating it, so it goes in the F tier. A mannequin. A mannequin has 14 hands. Probably they're gonna be efficient, and they're fast too, so it goes in the S tier. A minotaur is just a big cow that is only hell-bent on causing violence, so if we were to put this guy to solve a Rubik's Cube, is probably gonna be not so efficient, so it goes in the B tier. For a big Johninator, I really don't know any limitations that this guy might have, which makes him unable or inefficient at solving a Rubik's Cube, so I'm gonna put it in the A tier. He's gonna be alright. A gutter man has one of its arms as a minigun, so it's gonna be one-armed at this, so it goes in the C tier. I do believe it is actually a little bit smart, that's why it's not in the D tier. A gutter tank is supposed to be a better version and a direct counter to the gutter men, but not in solving Rubik's Cubes, so goes in the same tier as C. A puppet is useless, is dumb, is stupid, is an idiot. It's a blood puddle. It's all liquid. The Rubik's Cube is gonna fall straight out of his hands, so it goes in the F tier. A Benjamin, and I believe the last enemy that we got a tier. This guy is bigger than like every other thing in all of ULTRAKILL, and no Rubik's Cube exists for this guy's size, so it can't even solve a Rubik's Cube even if it wanted to, so it goes in the F tier. Not gonna be ranking defense systems this time, because they're just gonna be F tier anyway, and this is where it ends. A tier list of ULTRAKILL enemies based on how well they can solve a Rubik's Cube. If you've got this far, thank you for listening to this absolutely pointless yap sesh. I am going to once again take this and get a couple fire reacts on my Discord server. That's definitely gonna do numbers for my fame. So if you got this far in the video, guys, thank you so much for watching. Leave a like if you liked it, or maybe even comment or subscribe if you want to see more of these videos, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.